My dad left me out of his will because I'm adopted? Then I found out he's not my sibling's real father either. I'm 29 years old, and I never thought I'd be in a situation like this. My dad passed away 6 months ago, and it's been a whirlwind of emotions ever since. My mum is 55, and I have 2 younger siblings. My brother, Ethan, who's 26, and my sister Lily, who's 24. Growing up, I always knew I was adopted. My parents were open about it from the start, and I never felt like it made me any less their daughter. Or so I thought. But after my dad's death, everything I believed about my family unraveled, and I'm still trying to process the betrayal, the secrets, and the fact that my entire life feels like a lie. I've been holding this in for months, but I need to get it out. So here's my story. It all started when my dad's will was read. He'd been sick for a while, cancer, and we knew the end was coming, but nothing prepared me for what happened at the lawyer's office. My mum, Ethan, Lily and I were all there, sitting around a table, expecting to hear how my dad's estate would be divided. He wasn't rich, but he had a decent savings account, the house and some investments, maybe $300,000 in total. I figured it'd be split evenly among us kids, with something for Mom too. But when the lawyer read the will, my name wasn't mentioned. Not once. Ethan and Lily were each left $100,000 and the house went to my mom. I got nothing. I sat there, stunned, as the lawyer explained that my dad had specifically written, "To my adopted daughter, I leave nothing, as she is not of my blood." I felt like I'd been slapped. My mom wouldn't look at me, and my siblings just stared at the floor, avoiding my gaze. I couldn't believe it. My dad had always treated me like his own, or at least I thought he did. Sure, there were moments growing up where I felt a little different, like when he'd take Ethan and Lily on special father-kid trips and leave me behind with Mom. He'd always say it was because I was so mature and didn't need as much attention. I bought it back then, but now, looking back, I see the cracks. He'd miss my school plays, but never Ethan's soccer games. He'd buy Lily new dresses for every birthday, while I'd get a card with $20 inside, if I was lucky. Still, to leave me out of the will entirely? It felt like a final rejection, like he'd never truly seen me as his daughter. I left the lawyer's office in tears, ignoring my mum's calls for me to come back. I needed space to think, to figure out why he'd do this to me. I drove to my apartment and sat on my couch, replaying every memory I had of my dad. I remembered how he'd smile at me sometimes, but it always felt forced, like he was trying to convince himself to love me. I thought about the times he'd call Ethan and Lily my pride and joy, but never include me in that. I'd always brushed it off, telling myself I was being too sensitive. But now, with the will staring me in the face, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I felt like my whole childhood had been a lie, and I needed to know why he'd singled me out like this. I went to my parents' house a few days later when I knew my mom would be out. I still had a key, and I let myself in, heading straight for my dad's study. He kept all his important documents in a locked drawer, but I knew where he hid the key, taped under his desk. I felt a little guilty snooping, but I needed answers. I found the usual stuff: his marriage certificate, the deed to the house, my adoption papers. But then I found something else, a folder labeled DNA results. My heart started racing as I opened it. There were 3 test results inside, one for each of us kids. Mine confirmed what I already knew. I wasn't biologically related to my dad, but Ethan and Lily's results were a shock. Neither of them were his biological children either. I sat there, staring at the papers, trying to make sense of it. If none of us were his, then who was our father? And why had my dad singled me out in the will? I felt a mix of anger and confusion, but also a strange sense of relief. At least I wasn't the only one who wasn't his. But that relief quickly turned to betrayal. My mum had to know about this. She'd been lying to all of us for years, and my dad had gone along with it, taking his resentment out on me. I needed to confront her, but I wanted to be sure of the facts first. I took the DNA results and slipped them into my bag, locking the drawer behind me. I drove straight to my mom's friend's house, where I knew she'd be. I didn't even call ahead. I was too angry, too confused. When she opened the door, she looked surprised, but I didn't give her a chance to speak. I held up the papers and said, "Explain this, now." Her face went pale and she tried to brush it off, saying, "Oh, those are old. They don't mean anything." But I wasn't letting her off that easy. I told her I knew Ethan and Lily weren't dads, and I demanded to know who their real father was, and why Dad had cut me out of the will but not them. She started crying, but I didn't back down. I needed the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Finally, she sat me down and told me everything, and it was worse than I could have imagined. My mom started by telling me about her life before she met my dad. She was 25, working as a waitress, when she got involved with a man named Richard. He was older, charming, and married. She said she knew it was wrong, but she fell for him hard. They had an affair for 2 years, and during that time, she got pregnant with Ethan. Richard promised to leave his wife, but he never did. When Ethan was born, my mum told Richard, but he refused to have anything to do with the baby. She was heartbroken, but she tried to move on. A year later, she met my dad, who was a kind, stable guy, a software engineer with a good job. My dad knew about Ethan and offered to raise him as his own. They got married, and a year after that, Lily was born. My mom admitted that Lily was also Richard's, but she never told my dad. She let him believe Lily was his, and he never questioned it. A few years later, my parents decided to adopt. That's where I came in. I was 3 years old, in foster care, and they brought me into their family. My mom said they both wanted me, but as I got older, my dad started to resent me. He'd look at me and see a child who wasn't his, while he believed Ethan and Lily were Dot. When I was 15, my mom said he started getting suspicious about Ethan and Lily too. He'd noticed they didn't look much like him, and he began asking questions. That's when he did the DNA tests. He found out the truth that none of us were his, but he never confronted my mom about it. Instead, he took his anger out on me. My mom said he felt tricked into raising me, even though I was the only one he knew wasn't his from the start. It didn't make sense to me, but that's why he left me out of the will. I was the easiest target for his resentment. I asked my mom why she never told him the truth about Ethan and Lily. She said she was scared he'd leave her if he knew. She also admitted she'd kept in touch with Richard over the years, even after she married my dad. She'd meet him in secret, telling my dad she was visiting friends. Richard never wanted to be a father to Ethan and Lily, but he'd send my mom money sometimes, which she used to buy things for them, like the bikes and clothes I was never allowed to have. That's why my siblings always got better gifts growing up. It wasn't just favoritism, it was guilt money from their real father. I felt sick hearing all of this. My mom had built our entire family on lies, and I'd paid the price for it. I remembered all the Christmases where Ethan and Lily would get new phones or game consoles, while I'd get a pair of socks or a cheap notebook. I'd always thought it was because I was adopted, but now I knew it was because my mom was funneling Richard's money to them. I left my mom's friend's house in a daze. I couldn't believe she'd kept this secret for decades, letting my dad treat me like an outsider while she played the perfect wife. I drove home and sat in my apartment, staring at the DNA results. I thought about confronting Ethan and Lily, but I wasn't sure how they'd react. We'd always been close, despite the favoritism. Ethan was the quiet, thoughtful one, always checking in on me when I seemed down. Lily was more outgoing, but she'd always been my biggest cheerleader, coming to my art shows and bragging about me to her friends. I didn't want to lose them, but I couldn't keep this to myself. They deserved to know the truth, even if it hurt. I called Ethan and Lily that night and asked them to come over. When they arrived, I could tell they were nervous. They'd been distant since the will reading, probably feeling guilty about their inheritance. I didn't waste any time. I showed them the DNA results and told them what Mom had said. They were shocked. Neither of them had any idea they weren't dads. Ethan got quiet, his face pale, while Lily started crying, saying she felt guilty for how I'd been treated growing up. They both offered to give me part of their inheritance, but I told them I didn't want it. It wasn't about the money anymore, it was about the betrayal. I needed time to process everything, so I told them I'd be taking a step back from the family for a while. They understood, but I could tell they were struggling with the truth too. I decided to track down Richard. It wasn't hard. My mom had given me his last name and I found him on social media. He's 62 now, still married, with 2 grown kids of his own. I sent him a message, telling him who I was and that I knew about Ethan and Lily. I didn't expect a response, but he replied the next day. He said he was sorry for how things turned out, but he'd never wanted to be involved with my mom's kids. He admitted he'd sent her money over the years to keep her quiet, but he had no interest in meeting Ethan or Lily. He also said he didn't know about me being adopted, but he wasn't surprised my dad had treated me differently. "Your mom always had a way of twisting things," he wrote. I didn't respond. I just blocked him. He didn't deserve to know me or my siblings. It's been a month since I found out the truth, and I'm still trying to figure out how to move forward. I've been seeing a therapist, which has helped a little. She's been encouraging me to set boundaries with my mom, and I haven't spoken to her since that day at her friend's house. I told her I need space, maybe forever. She keeps texting me, saying she's sorry and that she loves me, but I don't know if I can believe her. How can I trust someone who lied to me my whole life? Ethan and Lily have been more supportive. They've been meeting with me for coffee every week, and we're trying to rebuild our relationship without our parents' drama. They're angry at Mom too, but they're not ready to cut her off like I am. I've also been thinking a lot about my dad. I'm still hurt by what he did, but I feel a strange kind of sympathy for him now. He was lied to, just like I was. He thought Ethan and Lily were his, and that must have made my adoption feel like a betrayal to him, even if it wasn't my fault. I wish he'd talked to me about it before he died. I wish he'd given me a chance to understand. But I'll never get that closure, and that's something I'm learning to live with. I've been going through old photo albums, looking at pictures of us as a family. There's one from when I was 5 at a park where I'm sitting on my dad's shoulders, smiling. I wonder if he was already resenting me then, or if that came later. It's hard to reconcile that memory with the man who wrote me out of his will. I've been focusing on my job to keep myself busy. I'm a graphic designer and I've been taking on extra freelance projects to distract myself. My friends have been amazing. My best friend Sarah has been coming over almost every night, bringing takeout and listening to me vent. She's been encouraging me to start dating again, but I'm not ready. I feel like I need to figure out who I am outside of my family before I can let someone new into my life. For now, I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, but some days are harder than others. I keep having nightmares about my dad, where he's yelling at me, telling me I don't belong. I wake up in a cold sweat and it takes hours to calm down. It's been 3 months since my last update, and a lot has changed. I decided to confront my mom one more time. I needed to know if there were any other secrets she was keeping. I met her at a park, neutral ground, so I could leave if things got too heated. She looked tired, like she hadn't been sleeping. I asked her point blank if there was anything else I needed to know. She hesitated, then admitted that Richard wasn't the only man she'd been with during her marriage. There was another guy, someone she worked with, but she swore none of us kids were his. I didn't believe her, so I told her I was done. I said I couldn't have her in my life anymore, not when I couldn't trust a word she said. She cried and begged me to stay, but I walked away. It hurt, but I felt free for the first time in months. Ethan and Lily have been struggling too. They decided to do their own DNA tests, just to be sure, and the results confirmed Richard is their father. They reached out to him, hoping for some kind of connection, but he shut them down, just like he did with me. They're both pretty heartbroken, but it's brought us closer. We've been talking a lot about what it means to be a family, and we've decided to focus on our bond as siblings without our parents' baggage. We even spent Thanksgiving together, just the 3 of us. And it was the first holiday in years where I didn't feel like an outsider. We cooked a small turkey, laughed about old memories, and for a few hours, I felt like I had a real family again. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. I've also been working on forgiving my dad, in my own way. I went to his grave last week and talked to him. I told him I was hurt by what he did, but I understood why he felt the way he did. I said I wished things had been different, but I was going to be okay. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive him, but saying those words out loud helped me let go of some of the anger. I brought a small flower from my apartment, a daisy, and left it on his grave. It felt like a small gesture, but it meant something to me. I'm still in therapy, and it's been a lifeline. My therapist says I'm making progress, and I'm starting to believe her. I've been learning to set boundaries, not just with my mom, but with other people in my life too. I've been thinking a lot about my biological parents lately. I don't know much about them, just that my birth mom was young and couldn't keep me. I've always been curious, but after everything with my dad, I'm not sure I'm ready to open that door. What if they reject me too? I talked to my therapist about it, and she suggested I write a letter to my birth mom even if I don't send it. I did, and it was harder than I thought. I wrote about my childhood, my adoption, and how I've always wondered about her. I cried the whole time, but it felt good to get it out. I'm keeping the letter in a drawer for now. Maybe one day I'll be ready to send it, but not yet. I've also started dating again, just casually, nothing serious. Sarah set me up with a guy from her work, a quiet guy named Mark who's a teacher. We've been on a few dates, and he's nice. He knows about my family drama, and he's been really understanding. We went for a hike last weekend, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely happy. I'm not ready for anything serious, but it feels good to let myself have fun again. I'm starting to see a future for myself, one that isn't defined by my family's lies. I've been working on a new art project too, a series of paintings about my journey. It's been therapeutic, putting my emotions on canvas. It's been 6 months since I found out the truth, and I'm in a better place now. I've completely cut contact with my mum. She tried reaching out a few times, but I blocked her number. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive her, not after everything she's done. Ethan and Lily are still in touch with her, but they respect my decision to stay away. They've been amazing, and I'm so grateful for them. We're planning a trip together next month, just the three of us, to a cabin in the mountains. It'll be our first real vacation as siblings, and I'm looking forward to making new memories. I've also been reconnecting with my dad's sister, my Aunt Clara Dot. She reached out after hearing about the will, and she's been horrified by how I was treated. She's been a surprising source of support, and it feels good to have at least one family member on my side. I want to thank everyone who's been following my story. Your comments and messages have meant the world to me. I've read everyone, even if I haven't responded. They've helped me feel less alone, and they've given me the strength to keep going. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know I'm not defined by my family's lies anymore. I'm building my own life on my own terms, and that's enough for now. To anyone going through something similar, I just want to say, you're stronger than you think. Keep fighting for yourself. You deserve it. I'm still healing, but I'm getting there, one step at a time.
I just want to send you a big virtual hug. I've been following your story, and you've been through so much. It's not fair that your dad left you out of the will just because you were adopted, and finding out your siblings aren't his either must have been such a shock. Oh, I can't believe your mom kept a secret for so long and let you feel like an outsider your whole life. I'm glad you have Ethan and Lily to lean on. They sound like they really care about you. You're gonna get through this, and I'm rooting for you every step of the way.
Have you thought about finding your biological parents? It might give you answers. I found my birth mom last year. It wasn't perfect, but it helped me understand my story.
Your Thanksgiving with Ethan and Lily sounds so sweet. I love that you're building new traditions. I did the same with my siblings after our parents divorced, and it helped us heal. You three are the real family now. Your mountain trip will be amazing. I hope you make lots of happy memories.
Your mom's a liar. She let your dad treat you badly, cut her off, focus on your siblings. I'm so glad journaling is helping you. I started after my own family drama, and it's like therapy on paper. My mom lied to me about my dad for years, and writing down all my anger and sadness helped me let go. I can't believe your mom kept such a huge secret about Ethan and Lily's dad while letting you take the fall for her mistakes. It's so unfair that you were left out of the will. You're doing great by focusing on your healing and your art. Keep it up. You're stronger than you think.
I can't believe your dad excluded you from the will just because you're adopted. That's so unfair. Your mom's lies about your siblings make it worse. I'm glad you're in therapy.
I'm heartbroken for you. Your dad leaving you out of the will because you're adopted is so unfair. Finding out your siblings aren't his either is a huge betrayal. Your mom really messed up by keeping this secret for so long. I'm glad you're in therapy. It sounds like you're taking steps to heal. You deserve so much better than this.
You should definitely contest the will. I'm a paralegal, and I've seen cases where adopted kids were unfairly excluded and they won in court. Your dad's reasoning that you're not his blood might not hold up legally because it's discriminatory. You could have a strong case, especially since he didn't know Ethan and Lily weren't his until later, yet he still treated you differently. It's not just about the money, it's about holding him accountable for how he treated you. I'd recommend finding a lawyer who specializes in estate law. They can help you navigate the process and maybe even get you a share of the estate, even if it's just a symbolic win. Also, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I can't imagine how it felt to find out your siblings aren't his either after being left out of the will. Your mom's lies are just awful. She should have been honest from the start. You deserve better, and I'm glad you're finding support with your siblings.
Your mum is awful for keeping such a big secret. She let you suffer for her mistakes. I'm glad you're finding peace with Ethan and Lily. They sound like great siblings.
I went no contact with my toxic mom after she lied about my adoption, and it was the best decision I ever made. I can't imagine how hard it must be for you to deal with your mom's lies about Ethan and Lily's dad while she let your dad treat you so poorly. It's not fair that you were the one left out of the will when none of you were his biological kids. It's hard to cut contact, but the peace you get from not having to deal with her drama is worth it. You're doing the right thing by blocking her and focusing on your own healing. Protect your peace. You deserve it.
Your art project sounds amazing. I'm an artist too. Keep creating. It'll help you heal.
I get why you're struggling to forgive your dad. He was lied to, but that doesn't excuse how he treated you. I went through something similar with my own dad. Going to his grave was a brave step. Forgiveness is for you, not him. It's about letting go of the pain. You're on the right path.
Your mom sounds like a master manipulator, lying for years and letting you suffer for it while she kept sneaking around with Richard. I cut off my toxic parents after a similar betrayal when I found out my mom had been lying about my dad my whole life, and it gave me so much peace. I can't believe your mom let your dad treat you like an outsider while she funneled Richard's guilt money to your siblings for bikes and clothes. It's no wonder you felt left out growing up. It's so unfair that you were the one left out of the will when none of you were his biological kids. You're doing the right thing by focusing on yourself and your siblings. People like her don't change, and you deserve better than her constant drama. I'm really inspired by how you're finding joy in your art and your time with Ethan and Lily. Keep healing. You've got this.
Therapy is great, isn't it? I started after my dad lied about my family. It helps so much. You're doing well by setting boundaries with your mom. Keep it up.
I'm so sorry your dad left you out of the will. That's awful. Your mum's lies are even worse. You deserve better.
Your story made my blood boil. Your dad had no right to treat you like that, adopted or not. Your mom lying about Ethan and Lily's dad for decades is unforgivable. I'd cut her off for good if I were you. You don't need that toxicity. Focus on your siblings. They sound like they really care about you.
As someone who's also adopted, your story hit me hard. I've always worried my parents might resent me, and this is my worst nightmare. I'm so sorry your dad did this to you. You're not alone. There's a whole community of adoptees who get it. You're enough, even if he couldn't see it.
You might want to do a DNA test with your siblings to confirm everything. It could also connect you with other relatives who are tied to your mom's lies. I did one after my own family secret came out, and it helped me find a cousin I never knew about. It gave me a sense of closure and a new family connection. This might be worth considering for you and your siblings, especially since you're rebuilding your bond. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's not fair that you were left out of the will.
I'm so mad for you. Your dad shouldn't have treated you like that. Your mom's lies are the worst. I hope you find peace with your siblings. They seem to care.
Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up for you. Ethan, Lily, and your Aunt Clara are your real family now, and I'm so glad you have them. I learned this the hard way after my own family drama, when I found out my dad wasn't my real dad. I had to redefine what family meant to me. You don't need your mom or dad's approval to be happy. You're building something better with your siblings, and that's what matters. I'm sorry about the will, that was so unfair.